Disclaimer. This video is a discussion and analysis based on available information and observed performance. It is in no way intended to make excuses for Errol Spence Jr.'s defeat to Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr. is a man of honor and integrity who has never sought to justify his losses, and we respect his fortitude and sportsmanship. It's difficult to reconcile the Spence we saw in the ring with the formidable athlete we know him to be. It could simply be that the styles of the two fighters were mismatched on the night, with Crawford's exceptional counterpunching, 2-inch reach advantage, and decision to fight southpaw proving dominant against Spence's come-forward, pressure style with minimal head movement and feints. This is all part of the complexity and unpredictability of the sport we love. The intention of this video is to stimulate thoughtful conversation and reflect on the potential unseen factors that can impact a boxer's performance.
Now our boy Errol Spence Jr., a fighter I've respected and admired for years, didn't seem his usual self in that fight. He appeared as a shadow of the titan we've known him to be. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to the elephant in the room, the potential impact of that unfortunate car crash incident, and the residual neurological damage on Spence's performance. Before we dive in, I want to emphasize that I'm no medical expert, just a concerned fan trying to connect the dots. The Errol we saw in the ring against Crawford, well, he looked like a fighter who'd lost his rhythm. It was like watching a grand piano play out of tune, and for any music lover, or in our case, boxing aficionados, it was distressing. Crawford, on the other hand, was on fire. He came, he saw, and he conquered. He fought like a seasoned gladiator in his prime, and Spence was caught in the storm, a storm named Terrence Crawford. However, I couldn't help but notice that our Errol Spence Jr. looked off. Glossy eyes, delayed speech. He seemed to be fighting more than just Crawford. Many fans even commented on how he looked high. And that's when it hit me. What if this wasn't just an off night for Errol? What if it was more sinister? What if the lingering effects of the car crash were still haunting him, impacting his ability to perform at his best? Let's get into the meat of the matter. We all know boxing can be brutal, physically and mentally. The blows these boxers take in the ring can have long-term effects, and Spence's car crash only adds to that toll. We're talking potential neurological damage here, folks. Neurological damage can mess with a boxer's timing, balance, and reaction time. And in a high-stakes match like this, even a split-second delay can mean the difference between a knockout and a title. Now here's the kicker. Spence himself admitted in a post-fight interview that his timing was off. He couldn't get his rhythm together. It was as if his body couldn't keep up with his mind, his muscle memory betraying him. Now this brings us to a broader and more disturbing question. Are we, as an audience, inadvertently encouraging fighters to push beyond their limits, ignoring the potential long-term damage for a short-term thrill? In the boxing industry, fighters' well-being should always take precedence over financial motives. And yet, we've seen instances where these considerations have been, shall we say, conveniently overlooked. Consider this. What if Spence knew about his condition? What if he took the fight despite the risks, all for the sake of an 8-figure payday, to secure his family's future? Of course, this is purely speculation on my part, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it? That's why I believe boxing commissions like the Nevada State Athletic Commission need to step up. We need comprehensive medical exams and ethical decision-making when assessing a boxer's fitness to compete. After all, a boxer's greatest fight should be in the ring, not against their own body or against the seduction of a payday that could cost them their health. All right, folks, let's change gears a bit and dive into another crucial aspect of this conversation: weight cutting. For those who might not be familiar, this is a process where fighters rapidly lose weight before a fight. But this process isn't as simple as shedding a few pounds to fit into a boxing robe. It's intense, it's grueling, and most importantly, it's potentially dangerous, especially for boxers dealing with underlying health issues. Dehydration during weight cutting can exacerbate neurological issues. It depletes glycogen, leading to water displacement and electrolyte loss. This can worsen long-term effects of neurological damage, further compromising a boxer's career. And yet,
this practice continues. It's high time the boxing community addresses this issue head-on. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The struggles Spence faces aren't entirely new to the boxing world. The legendary Muhammad Ali also battled Parkinson's disease, likely exacerbated by his boxing career. Like Spence, Ali faced significant challenges in maintaining his performance in the ring. Parkinson's and neurological damage compromise a boxer's ability to perform at their peak level.
In the case of Spence, his movements during the fight demonstrated a noticeable change. His neurological function seemed compromised, affecting his coordination, reflexes, and overall performance. Let's learn from the past, folks. Let's not wait for another Ali or Spence. The boxing world needs to ensure early recognition of these signs and provide the necessary support to these brave athletes.